I'm praying at ETJ today.
שמחה בצדה, לחמים במלכה, לאן בנדיה, משה בן אסתר, הנה החיה בת דעה, והנה יהודה מלכם מלכם. סבת לכם נועמי בת לכם פרל, שאול בן צדה, דאבת עולם, מזל בן צדה, יהושע אלימלך בן צדה, שלמה בן מידן, יוסף חיים בן פרידה, מאיר בן צדה, לאה במלכה, דוד בן יפה, בנש בן חיה רבקה, ריטה בת זקיה, דוד בן נחמור,
like reciting Pizmonim.
משה בן זריף, רבקה ברכה בת חיה ויטוריה, עזה בן רוזה, פרל בס יהודית, מרדכי בן חנה, עדן לפניהם, עדן לפניהם, נחש שבוע זמן קריב, נחנה יום צלם. Amen. Thank you, Harry, for sponsoring. Look at time, by the way.
Really?
No.
He's right. When he's right, he's right.
We got Harry down on the sponsor, and we got Harry down on the host.
Double
dipping right here.
Did anyone get proof of his check going out?
It was out on Monday.
Harry's goods are good.
Send to the chat. We love it. Day 71 also.
22.
72. 72.
Oh, Omer.
We'll say
Arbib.
Alright, guys. Let's get it again. Oh wait, the list is getting longer and longer. For the Cholim, it's getting longer and longer.
Yeah, both lists are getting longer.
It's taking longer to read that list.
I'll be honest with you.
because we're recruiting more people, there's going to be more names.
People text me, now that people know about this thing, people text me all the time, they give me like 15 names. What am I going to do? How many people can we add?
I added 15 people. 5 people.
Is there a way where you could read,
Sick.
Saying, what about Charles? Should I add everyone?
Could do. No.
We have to read
Should
the
I
names every
should
time.
I add, should we limit it? Should we
It's
limit the
like
amount of
20
people on that
minutes
list?
to that list now.
Oh, the Cholim list? Good question.
I know that 20 people that could be added.
There's millions in the world that are sick. You know what I mean? You can't put it on one chat. You know what I mean? They can't.
So just cap it.
If you can't, you know, you do whoever sends you a thing, just put it to like your own private whatever. So that if they feel like they give you a name.
What are you supposed to say when you read the Tehillim? You say it after, you say it after watching.
Say you have it in your mind. If wash off all the sick. You have to say each your name every time you say it. Amen.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Jackie.
Yo.
Jackie needs a classic guy, by the way.
Don't tormente. What did you skip?
Alright, we're rolling, Harry? We're on tape?
Yeah, you're rolling.
So let's start. Alright, guys.
Looks so fancy here.
Just a little bit of tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is a stereo system? No. Wine. Liquors.
No.
Starting the drinks already. Tomorrow night, guys, is Lag BaOmer. You all know Lag BaOmer is a very special time, right? You know, it's kind of like a time when in school, you know, we used to do like relay races in school. We used to play baseball, whatever. It was like a park day. That's what we thought it was. And until you learn about really what it really is, that's when you start, you know, getting the benefits of what Lag BaOmer really is. I think, to me, it's one of the best holidays of the whole year. For me, it's one of those. It's up there with Purim, and it's one of the happiest days of the year. And today we're going to explain a little bit why. Oh wait, tomorrow we can understand really what's going on. So just to get a little bit of a glimpse of what Lag BaOmer is. Why does it that this day, tomorrow, Lag BaOmer, it starts a new chapter in the Omer. You know, we had the 33 days up until now are sad, and we're mourning the Rabbi Akiva students, are mourning bad things that happened. But until this day and on, it already becomes you get a whiff of good air. It starts getting to we're out of the danger zone. Now it's up to we're coming to Shavuot. And what's the reason for that? So there's a little hint in the Torah starting from Bereshit, from the first word of the Torah. If you count 33 words from the beginning of the Torah, from Bereshit, 33 words, the word will become to Tov. It says Tov. Tov, right? There's 33 words. You count it. Word is Tov. Tov, the numerical value for Tov, the gematria for Tov, the numerical value is 17. Tet, Vav, Bet, 17. So on 33 words is Tov. Tov is 17. What does that mean? That on the 33rd day of the Omer, that's when the 17 days to 50 comes. So meaning 33 plus 17 is 50. So Shavuot minus 17 days is Lag BaOmer. So Lag BaOmer is already Tov. It's already... We get the good feeling. It starts coming to the good feeling. We know that Or is Torah. So it says, Vayhi Or, the whiff of Torah, the whiff of Shavuot, the when you say Ruach, the spirituality of Shavuot starts from Lag BaOmer, from 33 and on. Those are the 17 days of Tov, those 17 days of good things that happen, and we're coming to the time of Shavuot. So hopefully tonight we'll explain what the whole essence of fire is and the whole, bang, bang, bang. I love Lag BaOmer because fire is such an amazing thing.
So the reason why 33 is a day is because of that thing right there.
No, that's a hint.
It's
In
like
the
a
Torah,
machine.
where you see Lag BaOmer is already the start of good things. Because the 33rd word in Torah is Tov. Tov is numeric value of 17, and 17 days to the Omer. So 33, 17 is 50. So 17 days from Lag BaOmer already starts Tov. The good times. No more ever. We do weddings, we do music. All that starts the time of Torah. So let's go back. Yeah.
But why is it like that anyway?
We're gonna explain. We're gonna see tonight. Tonight you can see the beauty of Lag BaOmer. What really happened? That means that it gets us into this time period. So to understand it, last week's parasha had a certain pasuk. What does it say? It says, "Ubat ish kohen ki techel iznot, et abia mechalelet ba'esh tisaref." What's the English translation of this? If a daughter of a kohen starts to do znut, meaning if a daughter of a kohen starts to become, like they say, off the derech, she starts to do znut, like stupid, whatever it is, So she's being a zona, and her punishment is death. Saref, he has to be burnt.
Only for a kohen.
Only Kohen though.
A daughter.
No, a daughter of a kohen.
So what if you're not a daughter of a Kohen? You good?
Pasuk says bat kohen. It says bat kohen. So if she becomes a zona, if a daughter of a kohen gadol becomes a zona, her punishment is death. Right? Now there's a huge question. We're not talking about just a regular person. This is a kohen gadol. Any kohen. Imagine a kohen.
Kohen Gadol, Kohen, I'm sorry.
Kohen, it's the same thing. It's the same
Okay.
thing. If it's a kohen gadol, it's a kohen. In those
see,
days,
I got it.
they're all kohen gadol.
Right.
There wasn't really, even a kohen gadol. So how could it be that a kohen has a daughter that becomes a zona? How could it be possible? Kohen gadol, the guys in the guys in Beit Mikdash slaughtering animals. The fire goes up to Hashem.
Right.
He sees miracles. How could it be that his daughter becomes a zona? Right?
Right.
Bad parenting.
But how? How could it be?
Bad parenting.
Yeah, but again, these aren't just regular people. This is like Gadol Hadol. This is Kohen Gadol.
Kohen Gadol?
Kohen. Think of the Kohen Gadol. Think of the Kohen Gadol. Imagine the greatest people. The Kohen Gadol is the highest person in the whole generation. He goes into the Kodesh Kodashim once a year in Yom Kippur, and his daughter becomes a zona. If the Torah tells you that there's a possibility, then there's a possibility. The question is, how does it happen? How does it come to that level? Like you said, bad parenting. It could be that she becomes a bad person. You're right. It could be influence, but again, we have to understand.
Maybe he's so busy in the Beit HaMikdash all the time that he's not around.
You're touching on good points, but we have to find out what the real reason is, and that's going to be an introduction to the class.
Wow.
So the end of Masechet. Kohen? Are you gonna Kohen?
Yeah.
Wow, you're a Kohen?
Only one Kohen?
Wow.
1, 2, 3.
Right.
Who's that, you?
Man, Kohen.
No,
If
Risky.
it was a daughter only, I'm not Kohen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, I'll give you a little chizuk. There was a Kohen one time. We went with a couple of guys to Israel, and he's traveling the whole time. And where are they going? To the Kevarim. They're going to graves. The whole time they're going to graves. The Arizal, all different types of graves. And the Kohen's in the group, and he's all, he's lonely. Because why? Because every time he goes to a grave, he's outside.
Yeah.
The whole trip, they're going to graves. I feel like, they go to Machpelah, they're inside, and he's out there waiting. Oh, how is it inside? Showing pictures, whatever. But he has that feeling, you're Kohen, you have that feeling, you've left out.
Mm-hmm.
So the Kohen tells his group, because you're all laughing now. Because you all went inside, and I'm outside. But one day when Beit HaMikdash comes around, I'm going to go inside, you're going to be outside. So you should know that.
Own it right there.
You should know that Kohen Gadol, you're a Kohen, you have a privilege to go inside when we're going to be outside one day.
Mic drop.
So now you suck a little bit, but in the end you'll get the
I
benefits.
DJ'd your party, you gotta let me in.
So the end of Masechet Sukkah, the last page of Masechet Sukkah, says a story of exactly what happened. Alright? It says the story like this. Tanu Rabbanan. Maaseh b'Miriam bat Bilga. There was a lady called Miriam bat Bilga. The last name was called Bilga. Who was this Bilga? He was a Kohen Gadol. He was a Kohen in the Beit HaMikdash. In the Beit HaMikdash there was all different types of Kohanim, and one of them was Mishpachat Bilga, the family of Bilga. What happened to this family Bilga? It says that this girl Miriam, she left Judaism She left the house of her father, and she married a Greek. She not only did she go become a zonah, she married a Greek. In the times when the Greeks were trying to destroy the Bnei Israel, she married a Greek. What does it say about this time? This is the time when the Greeks took over the Beit HaMikdash. They destroyed the temple. What happened? It says that this girl became a wife of a Greek person, and she even got so far that when they were destroying the temple, the Beit HaMikdash, she came in there herself. And what did she do? She kicked the Mizbeach. She started kicking the Mizbeach.
That's a big one.
So the Jewish lady, who was a daughter of a Kohen,
How old is she?
doesn't say how old she is. She comes into Beit HaMikdash. She's married, so maybe I don't know. But she comes into Beit HaMikdash, and what does she do? She kicks the Mizbeach. And it says in the Gemara, what does she say? She says like this: Locus, locus, ad matai ta mechale mamonam sheYisrael. Locus, locus, like a zev, like a wolf, like they call it like a wolf, like the Mizbeach. How long are you going to steal people's money? She was saying like, you Mizbeach, all the money you took, all the korbanos you took, all the animals, everything. What are you doing now? At the end, we're destroying you. We're burning the whole Mikdash. So she was saying like, everything that Bnei Yisrael did in this Beit HaMikdash was for nothing. So all the money that was here, it's all being burnt now. So she's kicking the Mizbeach, and she's making fun
Is she physically kicking it or
physically, it says straight out, it says, Meva'etet b'sandala. Sandal is a sandal. She's kicking with her sandal. Right? Al gabei mizbeach, and she's saying locus. She's saying this whole thing. So the question is, how could it be that Miriam Bilga is kicking the mizbeach? How could she get to that far of a level? That's the same thing. The question we have here, the pasuk. How could it be that a daughter becomes a zonah? And the
it's not the same story?
No, this is the Torah. That's just reading about a situation. And this is the Chumash. Torah says a pasuk. If a bat kohen was mezonah, ba'esh sarif. Question is, how could it be possible? And then when the Gemara brings a story that it actually happened to the family of Bilga. And the family of Bilga actually happened that a girl, not only did she marry a Greek, but she went into the Beit HaMikdash and she kicked him his back and she started yelling and telling them, how much money did you take from us and all this, you're all wasteless. So the answer to the Gemara is, obviously we know that it's bad parenting. You know, she came to that level that she destroyed everything and she was even willing to kick them his back. There's a much, much deeper level to the story. Picture for a second. The Kohen Gadol comes home from doing his worship. We know that the Kohen Gadol, there was 24 Kohanim. Each one had a certain substitute. One guy would take 2 weeks, then he would go home. Next guy would come 2 weeks. Each one had their own 2-week position to work. So
2 weeks out of the month or
2 weeks out of the year.
Oh, okay.
One guy had 2 weeks, next guy 2 weeks, so it was filled up in a certain way. So when this guy Bilga, the Kohen, went to the Mikdash, did his work for 2 weeks, and he's coming home now to his house. And the Gemara tells you what happens at home. The kids are waiting for the father to come home, right?
They live in the Beit HaMikdash?
No, he lives by himself, and then he comes back home to his parents, family. They live there, but he comes back home. Now, the Gemara tells you, if the kids are waiting for this father to come home, right? You didn't see him for 2 weeks. He's busy, he's doing all these things. You're anticipating his father to come home, right? The kids are waiting by the window. His wife's waiting by the window. Even his grandma's coming. Everyone comes to greet the Kohen when he comes back home. What do you expect the feeling or the reaction of the kids to see their parents, see his father? They're going to be so... I want to hear all the stories, right? Now, if the father comes home, and he walks into the house, and he takes the jacket and throws it off, and he throws his hat off, and he takes his shoes off and says, I just want to go to sleep, leave me alone, don't ask me anything. And the kid's excited, tell me, what's the story? Tell me. Don't ask. What a waste of time. I hated it. People brought korbanot, and they were slaughtering. I'm all dirty in this blood, and I cut myself, and how much money I see people wasted. And he says all these things negative. He starts speaking negative. What do the kids think? Negative. Like, oh, that's what the victim, that's just, I'm never going to want to do that when I grow older. When a father, he's a businessman, right? He works in, Con Ed. He comes home, he hates the work, he hates the job. His son will never work in Con Ed. He'll never want to have that same inspiration to do what his father does, because his father hates it. He's not going to take the same course. Same thing here. The Kohen, if he comes back home and the daughter and the kids see him all negative, so it's no question how Miriam Bilga got to that level. Because she saw her father hating her work and seeing all the money that's gone. So she came to the Mizbeach and kicked it and said, locus. That's how you get to that level. When the parents don't show love and emotion, parents don't have any enthusiasm in anything they do, they come home and the kids have no part of it.
You're saying that this Kohen, when he came home, he was.
This Kohen says that he was punished for that. Because his fault for not giving love of the mitzvah. He used to come home and have everything negative. I'll give you an example right now.
How did they allow him to be the Kohen?
Right.
Wasn't the Kohen Gadol?
He's a Kohen.
He was a Kohen.
He one of the 27
But I'm sure there
people.
were hundreds of thousands.
So
millions of
they didn't
Kohen.
know what happened when he came. They didn't know what happened when he came home.
26 Kohens a year, right? 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
They didn't know what happened when he came home. When he came home, he did whatever he did in his house. They don't know what he does in his house. When they figure out that his daughter was kicking his back, then they realized that Kohen is Ryan.
Wow.
That's when they realized it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
After it was already too late.
too late. And that's when they started locking his locker. And the Beit HaMikdash, everyone had a locker.
Wow.
They locked his locker. They closed his things.
He
He
got
couldn't get his
fired.
tools. Got fired.
Wow.
They closed him off.
But the Greeks were already inside.
They destroyed. There was a certain time when they destroyed it, meaning it was siege, and then it was it wasn't destroyed right away. There was a time when they still were able to worship. So he was fired, and that Mishpachas Bilga is no more Kohen. The whole family was uprooted from Kohanim.
Wow.
And they
No
only
more.
knew it because of the J.
They realized after the girl became that
They
level.
just assumed it.
No, that's the
They did some
It's
investigation.
the only possible reason.
that's the root. You see a fruit, he's rind, the tree is rind. It's you have to know who goes back to the lineage. You see someone that becomes at that moment kicking the mizbeach,
So far from the
it must be that his father was that way. That's the answer. His father was that way. An example: two guys go to shul, go to Shat Zion, right? They come back home. One guy comes home. His wife says, "Okay, how was shul?" Don't ask. The speech was long. I sat next to that guy. He was sneezing all the time. I couldn't pray me die. I was getting sick. The guy in front of me was bowing down the whole time.
It's like you.
The rabbi gave a speech half an hour. I couldn't hear anything. He comes home. His wife hears that the shul was miserable. His kids hear that. They never want to go to shul. But if one guy comes home and he goes, "Listen, I came home from shul. What an amazing speech rabbi gave. This guy was sitting next to me. He prayed so nicely. I had so much kavanah. I was amazed. The shul was packed." So his whole focus of what he saw was good. He didn't see the negative.
Right.
That guy saw a negative. So his kids have a negative feeling. But when a guy sees a positive, his kids automatically have that love for it. If a guy loves Torah, then his son loves Torah. If you give it in the right way, then there's no question that the
Even
kids.
on life. So true.
Anything. Guy has a good job. He loves his job. He wants his son to do the same thing. Show that you love it. You have a store. You have a business. You want to give over that business. You have to have the same drive you have to give it to your son. But if you come home and say, I can't anymore with these emails. I can't anymore with my sales, and the kid's not going to want to do it. He's going to want to be a teacher. He's going to want to do something else. That's the truth in everything in life. That's the answer. How it could be possible that someone goes off the derech so far that they go kick him his back. Because the parents don't give love, they don't give warmth, they don't give the fire. They don't give that fire. And when they don't give the fire, kids go off. These days, how many people are off? Not even off, forget off. There's off and then there's gone. There's people that are gone, married non-Jews, living like a regular goyish life. And it's all because the parents, they didn't give that kick. Sometimes, parents do whatever they can do, and unfortunately, it still becomes,
Sometimes they give too much of a kick.
Sometimes you get too much of a kick. Sometimes it's not the right kick. But we need one common denominator. You need love. If you don't have the love, people know it's not true. This guy comes home and he's telling his parents, "Wake up, for sure, wake up." But you don't see that he doesn't have a love. It's just out of force, and also he's gonna run away from it. It's gotta be out of love, out of fire, out of enthusiasm, passion. When you come home, when you have passion, no chance that the kids are not gonna come out that way. It's 100% fact. That's a basic fundamental in Judaism. When we give over love and enthusiasm, the kids carried on. That's how we keep the tradition going. So that is a little bit of the story of Miriam Abel. But that brings us to the next topic of Esh, fire, enthusiasm, lavut, and passion. All that is also a huge fundamental in Judaism, and that has to do with Lag BaOmer. That's what Lag BaOmer is all about. The fire and everything we're going to get into right now. So we said that in order to give off to the kids warmth, you have to have it. It has to come from us. You can't give off warmth if you don't have warmth in yourself. Meaning, to warm someone else, you have to have warmth for yourself. Example: if you have a cup, right? You take wine, and I want to fill Mark's cup with wine, right? So if you pour a little wine, and I pour a little bit inside, it's not going to fill up because I don't have enough wine in my own cup to fill his cup, right? But if I pour my whole cup full of wine, I can pour to you and you and you and you and you, so I have enough in my own cup. If we have enough of love in ourselves, I can give love to someone else. But if I don't have love for the mitzvah, then I can never give it to someone else. That way my kid will never get it. So I don't have enough of it inside of me.
It's like energy.
Energy, right? Or if you have enough, he gives over.
No, energy is transferable.
Right.
If you have negative energy, people feel it and they
Get the bad vibe.
Yeah.
Right, it's true. So there's a little story to explain what warmth really is. There was a rabbi named Rabbi Eliyahu Lapyan, big rabbi. He lived in times of maybe in the 30s and the 40s, and he came to Israel.
Lapyan.
Lapyan, Rabbi Eliyahu Lapyan. He came from Europe after the Holocaust. He came to Israel, and he's walking in Yerushalayim. And in those days, and still in these days, unfortunately, people are driving on Shabbat. And he's walking with another rabbi, and they're walking to the shul. And he doesn't know, he never saw what's going on. Because he lived in Europe his whole life, and over there it was a different lifestyle. He comes to Israel now, Eretz Israel, it's a Kodesh, and he sees people driving on Shabbat in Yerushalayim. And he's walking, and it's paining him, and he says he's getting physical pain. He sees people driving, he gets pain from it. He can't continue any longer. He tells the person that he's walking with, he says, listen, I want to go back to our house. It's not worth it to go to shul. I get too much pain from seeing everybody driving. He really felt it. I can't understand how people do it. I don't understand how people do it. We're in Yerushalayim, it's on Shabbat, and you're driving. I can't fathom it. Let's go home. And he's walking with another rabbi, and he's telling him, stay. Maybe we're close. We're very close. And as they're speaking, a taxi driver comes up and drives right up to them. Drives right up to them. And here's a rabbi that's getting pain from people driving on Shabbat, and the taxi driver drives right up to them. And he rolls down the window, and he asks Rabbi Lepyan, he asks those two rabbis, he says, I'm sorry, Kvod Arav. Can you help me out? I'm looking to get to this and this street. How do I get to this street?
That's not a good question.
Imagine this taxi driver drives up to the rabbi on Shabbat, and his rabbi who can't handle the pain, so he wants to leave, and the guy drives up there. It's a crazy situation. What do you think this rabbi would answer? This is what warmth is. The rabbi tells us,
Taxi driver Jewish?
yeah, Jewish guy.
Kvod Arav.
Hold that up, It's Yerushalayim, it's in the old days, not in times these days. Rabbi Lepyan tells his taxi driver, he says, I want to help you out so much. You're a Yid, you're a Jew, I want to help you out. I can't possibly not help you out. But what should I do with Shabbat? And Hashem told me I can't let someone else be Machala Shabbat. What should I do? You tell me what I should do.
Right, put it in
I want to help you out. I want to tell you where it is. But I can't let you be Machala Shabbat. What should I do? I love you so much. I want to help you, but I can't. The taxi driver took his keys, turned the ignition off, came out of the car, handed the rabbi the keys. The rabbi says, Muksa, I can't touch it. So he said, put it behind a tree, put it behind the situation. After Shabbat, you come back. Put it behind the thing, came back to the rabbi, and told the rabbi, my whole life, my parents yelled at me, my rabbis yelled at me, teachers yelled at me, everyone told me, Machala Shabbat, Rasha, Gehinnom, Saref, Mavet, everything. He said, no one ever spoke to me from their heart. I saw that you had, really your intention was to help me out. You have really with love of Torah. From this day on, I'm never going to drive on Shabbat again. That day, he came with him to shul, he sat with him through the classes, stashed his sheets and everything, and he came back home, and he got his keys, and from that day on, he became very close to Rabbi Lepyan, and he was shemesh by his whole life. But how was it possible? Because Rabbi Lepyan had love. He gave him warmth. He didn't give him just a cold shoulder, go away from me. He gave him a love for Torah. That's what warmth is. That's what the fire of Torah is. When you have that, everyone gets burnt from it, meaning in a good way. I can burn someone in Torah, not in the physical sense.
They get lit.
You get consumed of it.
It's true.
What's fire? Fire, anything that it eats, it consumes it, and it becomes part of the fire. If a fire burns whatever it is, paper, the paper becomes part of the fire. If a guy learns Torah, Torah is fire. When a guy learns Torah, he becomes part of the Torah. He gets involved in it, becomes one piece of fire. That's the story of Rabbi Lepyan. That's how we give off the warmth and everything. Next, we're going to go into the topic of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Right? So it says, you know the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He went to the cave. We spoke about this last time. I'm not going to go over it again. But we spoke about this last time. He was in the cave for 12 years. And when he came out of the cave, he was on a high level that whoever he looked at,
12 years in the cave?
he was in the cave for 12 years.
Why?
It said that he was running away from the Roman Emperor at the time. The Roman Emperor wanted to kill him. So him and his son went into a cave for 12 years, escaped the Romans, and they're learning there. It said that they're learning in a pit of dirt.
Was it a miracle that they survived that?
There was a miracle. There was a tree in the cave, and there was a river that went through the cave. It's all deep stuff. It's not typical things. It's
The
all...
tree sprouted and the river came out of nowhere, food and water.
In that cave was written the Zohar. Not him, one of his students wrote the Zohar. But we said in the last class, we said that he was in the pit, in the dirt, for 12 years, and it says that he would learn Torah naked. We said, remember last time we said that exactly?
Yeah.
He learned Torah naked. Him and his son learned Torah naked. They were covered into their necks, and they were in the pit full of dirt. They were naked. And the question is, why were they naked? We said last time.
Like Adam.
Because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai wasn't Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He was a Gilgul, like we said last week, he's a reincarnation of Adam Harishon before he sinned. Before Adam Harishon sinned, when he ate from the tree,
Came back.
everyone was naked. Adam and Chava were naked. There was no clothing. The minute they ate from the tree, that's when they got embarrassed and Hashem gave them clothes. So before that, everyone was naked. Everything was everything was a pure, perfect world. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was learning Torah in the pit naked because he was like Adam before the sin. Very, very deep stuff. But it says when he went to go pray, what did he say? He got out of the pit and put his clothes on. What's the reason for that? Because when you're praying, you're asking for materialistic things. Give me panasa, give me refuah, give me ochel. All that stuff is this world. There's not world, we don't need anything. I mean, Hashem gives us. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, on one hand, he's learning Torah. He's in Gan Eden. But when he's praying, he puts his clothes on. He puts his clothes on, he comes back to this world, and he acts like a mundane person. That's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. When he came out of his cave, whoever he saw, he burnt him in his eyes. He was too holy. So whoever he looked at, he burnt him and made him into a pile of ashes. That's what it says. That says that.
Last week.
He burnt him.
Even if it's a good guy.
He burnt one person. That person is not just a regular person, a different class. But he burnt the person. He came back to the cave, and when he came out, he was normal. Everything was back to normal, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai continued his legacy, and everything was normal. But you see from the story that there was an aspect of fire. It was ash. He looked at him and he burnt him, made him into a pile of ashes. How is it possible?
The birds that flew overhead burned.
We said last week. We said that when Yonatan Buzia would learn. No, same Tanaim, same period of time. When they learned, their birds would get burnt. So there's a thing of fire. There's an aspect of fire. What does the fire have to do with Torah here? Why did you look at him and make him into a pillar of fire? Make him into water. Make him into sand. Why fire? And there's a lot of different stories that come with fire. Fire. Another story I want to bring. The story is on Pashat Balak. It's a story that not many heard of it. I only heard of it a couple of years ago. And the story is like this. There's a rabbi named Rabbi Yossi in Pekin. He's in the Gemara also. But the story is like this. He passed away. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his students, they heard that he passed away. So they wanted to go pay respects to the family and go visit. They said, let's go pay respects to they call him the Rimon. They call him a Rimon. He was filled with mitzvot. So they go to his house of Rabbi Yossi in Pekin. It's in the north, it's in Tzfat. It's in that area of Tzfat area. And they go to his house, and they see the house is like not like a typical thing. They see smoke, they see fire, they see something that's a little abnormal. And they come into the house, and they see his son. Rabbi Yossi had a son, about 4 years old, and he was leaning over his father's bed. His father's, Niftar is dead on the bed. And he's leaning over his bed, and it says that there's fire surrounding them. Meaning they come to the house, there's a bed, and his son's by his father, right over his father, and there's ash, fire surrounding the bed and the son. And they can't come closer. They only see it. And they hear what's going on. And they see the son.
So they didn't bury him yet.
They couldn't bury him. The body's on the table, his son's leaning over his body, and there's fire around them. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he can't come any closer. He's fire himself, he can't come any closer. And he's sitting there and he sees what's going on. And he hears this little boy crying. And what does this boy say? This little boy is 4 years old. He says, Ribono shel olam. There's a mitzvah in the Torah. It's called Shiluach Haken. Right? What's the mitzvah? It says when you see a bird, a mother in its nest, right? There's a mitzvah to take away the bird first, take the mother away, and then take the eggs. Wow, he's a very smart guy. See, he knows. See that, Harry? Yeah, brother's good.
He's on
More than her.
So the mitzvah is called Shiluach Haken. Take away the mother, and then take away the birds. This little boy, he's saying, Ribono shel olam, Hashem, my mother passed away when I was a little kid. When I was born, my mother passed away. I only have a father. The mitzvah says, take away the mother, and then take away the kids. What are you doing? You took away my mother and my father, and we're still here. Me and my younger daughter, me and my younger sister. He had a sister, she was younger than him, about 3 years old also. So here he's telling Hashem, there's a mitzvah in your Torah, it says, to do Shiluach Haken, you have to take the mother away, and then take away the eggs. You are taking the mother and the father away, and the Edgar's still here. We're still here. It's not fair.
The 4-year-old knew that guy.
The 4-year-old kid, he's not just a 4-year-old kid, he's the son of a Tana. He's saying, in the Torah it says that. You have to fulfill what it says in the Torah. At that moment, there was a bat call, there was a voice from Hashem and said, Ashrecha Rabbi Yossi, that you have a son whose voice reached up to Hashem. It says at that moment,
What does Ashrecha mean?
Ashrecha, blessed are you, Rabbi Yossi. How holy are you? That your son, his voice, his cry, his tears came up to Shamayim. It says that they counted his tears. It said 365 tears came from this boy. It says 365 benches were shaking in Shamayim. It's not a small thing, 365 tears. All this is huge stuff. And it says that at that moment, the fire stopped and Rabbi Yossi woke up. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says,
woke up.
He woke up. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai writes, Ashrecha sherainu tichatem etim ayin v'ayin. He says, worthy are we that we saw tichatem etim in front of our eyes.
What about the fire? Went out?
It went out. Rabbi Yossi came back to life, and he lived another 22 years to teach his son more Torah until he became a rabbi himself, and then he passed away. And he's buried now in Tzfat over there. You see, he's buried. It's called Rabbi Yossi in Pekin. His grave's there.
Wow.
He's buried in the forest over there. But you see from there,
The story is so hard to believe.
it's from this.
I believe it.
I know, and it's a crazy story. It's impossible. But Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, it's not regular people. 365 tears, benches, everything is. It's not just simple stuff. I'm just giving the story, but there's so much more involved in.
You said last week that any guy mentioned in the Gemara,
Hayat
the
Yachim
guys
Tim.
were able to bring back people who were dead.
Minimum.
And the Gemara even discusses about witchcraft. I mean, it goes there.
Everything.
It goes too deep
Imagine
on
these
it.
guys walking down the street.
It said that
Guys
witchcraft.
No, but this guy didn't bring it back. God brought it
The
back.
Gemara actually says that
The saying is
witchcraft,
he
all
witnessed
that
it.
stuff.
No, but
exists.
still, blessed are they saw it.
Blessed that we saw it.
They still saw
Rabbi
it.
Shimon Bar Yochai is saying, blessed are we that we saw the Tichatem Etim. They witnessed the Ayin V'ayin, and he wrote it down in the Zohar, and it's written in Pashat Balak. That's where it's written down.
What's it?
The story is written down in Pashat Balak by the Zohar over there. I heard the story. I don't know the Zohar. I can't read it, but I heard the story from there. It's on the Gemara. He wrote it himself. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai wrote the Zohar. He wrote the story himself. So if you're not going to believe him, then who are you going to believe?
So a little bit of a tangent. You said last week that these guys had the ability to bring someone back from the dead.
They had the ability.
But
Right.
they didn't?
They're not going to bring back
Separate.
everyone.
No.
Oh.
Sometimes they can do it when they need to. They're not just going to walk away. And
Which
just,
one they need to? When someone they care about?
meaning, they're not just going to walk around and start bringing people back to life.
There's a halachic
There's a way.
reason
There's
to
a way the world
have-
works,
So
right?
how?
So they have to let nature take its course. But if there's a case where they see things that they can change nature, for instance, this little boy was 4 years old, right? If his father woke up and taught him more Torah, he would become an old Tana and he would continue the Torah. So at that moment, it was worthy to bring him back to life to teach the
Oh,
kid.
he did it.
No, saying Hashem brought him back because
Right.
it's worthy. So these times when
never do it.
they did it 100 times.
Didn't they say like
There was a
Moshe-
story of a Tana. I'm not gonna get into it. It's a deep story, but there's a story of a Tana. They were learning so much. They had a machloket between each other. Again, it's a story of Gemara. It's not me. They were learning so hard. There was fire, and he killed his havuta. He killed him. I'm not lying. There's a Gemara.
Like what?
There's a Gemara. It happened on Purim, and he brought him back to life.
He may have been drunk.
The next Purim, he invited him. He said, "I want you to come over." He said, "No, I'm not coming back." Promise you.
How did he remembered him killing him?
He died. The guy, he brought him back to life. He said, "No, I'm not coming back next week." It wasn't good that he killed him. He got too
Intense.
he got too intense. But you see, they had that capability. It's not just one story. There's tons of stories like that.
Charles explained, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, that there's certain levels that everything goes by, the whole shots and everything. It goes, and then there's certain books that have real heavy duty levels.
So
Enough of angels, how they speak, and
So whatever.
Very far.
I'm trying to get back to our topic. The topic was that we see that fire plays a role in all these stories. You always see fire, fire, fire.
So why didn't he use his powers to get rid of that fire that was surrounding them so they could bury the guy?
So there's things that are, again, like the nature that you have to let happen, and there's things that are above nature. Meaning, you see Hashem has his hand in it, you just watch. You don't do anything. Even though you can change the nature, let Hashem take its course. It's not, again, that's what I said, when he saw the house, something was different. It wasn't just a regular fire that he saw. It was, everything was spiritual. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai could have brought him back to life. It wasn't just a simple thing, but it was all spiritual. Again, the story is so much more deeper. But I don't have the tools to dissect it. It's such a deep masechet. But that's just a story. So I'm trying to bring the aspect of fire. There's fire in all these types of things. Fire represents the hitlavus, the warmth, the passion of it. All these rabbis had the fire. Those generations, they were bringing Torah to the world. That period of time was when they were writing down the Gemara. So before that time, there was no Gemara. Everything was written down by ear to ear. There was Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral, the by heart. So when they started writing down the Gemara, that's when all these stuff started happening. Fire and all these crazy stories were happening in this time of period. Because these rabbis were bringing Torah to the world. They're bringing fire to the world. So you see from here that when we talk about fire, it's not just fire that we think it is. It's Torah. It's the Esh Torah. It's a passion, enthusiasm, and that's what Lag BaOmer is. When tomorrow night, when they dance in the fire and they sing and they have an elevation of spirituality, we're not looking at fire and saying, just regular fire. It's fire. It's that passion of Torah that we got from Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. He gives us over that today. We get that same spark that he gave us a long time ago. It's still in this world. That fire that he lit in those days, it's still in these days. That's why when we go to that fire, it's not just a regular fire. You look in that fire, you see it. And by the way, that fire is not just Lag BaOmer. They say Hanukkah. It says there's a halakha. You can't use those lights, the Hanukkah lights, and none of reshut l'shmesh b'hem. We have no reshut to touch them. We don't use them for reading a book, for reading a magazine. We can only look at those lights. Why? Because those lights have special holiness to it. It's not just regular lights. Shabbat candles. Why do we light Shabbat candles with fire? Why don't we put sand in the candle? All these stuff are just a fire. It's not a regular fire. It's spirituality. It's higher thing. It's a spiritual fire.
So does that mean that every fire that I see, I should feel is spiritual, or only the
every spiritual fire? If you see a house burning down, if you see a house burning down, of course it's not Hashem. It's not spiritual. You have anything spiritual? It has to be a spiritual thing. Nerot Shabbat, Chanukah. By the way, Shabbat it's Kodesh. You know why? We bring Shabbat in with fire, which is Nerot, and we bring it out with hot fire. It's surrounded by fire. It's surrounded by fire on all sides. It's not just one side. All of it's fire. Hanukkah, the whole holiday is fire. Every holiday we have, we bring it in with fire, and we end with fire. That's the beauty of fire. It's not just a regular fire. Spiritual. And I'm going to go deeper than that. A korban, it's fire. Deeper than that. Unfortunately, it's very sad to say, but when they passed away, those Hassun children had to die. Fire, spiritual, it's korbanot. It's not a typical thing. When you see the fire of the house, you don't see a regular fire. It's a spiritual thing. They went up to Shemayim in a fire. It's not just a regular death. That's why when you look at the situation, you look at it much deeper. It's fire, it's Esh. They went up with Torah. They went up with Hashem. The sons of Aharon passed away with fire. Everything you see with fire is a spiritual thing. It's a very, very deep concept.
Also the worst possible death you could ever imagine.
You never know. Again,
Drowning, they say.
we should never know. We should never know.
Such a destructive thing. Hashem may take you away and then burn you. So
You never know, right?
Why do they always refer to the Neshama as fire? All the rabbis.
Spirit.
It's
Right?
Esh. It's fire. They come from that. Angels aren't physical. Angels are all fire. They're all Esh. Everything is spiritual. Has to do with Esh, fire. That's what we have. Our purpose in our world is to do mitzvot with fire. When we pray in the morning, it's not just praying. You pray. That's why. By the way, you ever go to a shul? You see a guy. We look at him as a crazy guy. Like this. What's he doing? We don't know what's in his mind. But in his mind, he's singing, he's dancing, it's Torah, he's learning. They're singing, they pray. When you hear people learning, you go to a kollel, they're not just learning. You hear yelling, you hear screaming, you hear singing. It's the song of the Gemara. They're just saying Gemara, but they're singing a song. It's all spiritual. It's all fire. And I have to have a story. I have to say this story. There's a story of a Hasidim and the Rebbe in the concentration camp. I always bring stories. I have a book of all these stories, and they're just so deep. And what happened was that the Nazis, they brought the group of Hasidim and the Rebbe, and they brought them to a mass grave. And they said, let's see how long you can survive for.
In a mass grave.
No, let's see how long you can survive for. So they told them to dig the grave. They dug the grave. Now they're standing in front of the grave. All the Hasidim and the Rebbe. And the way it works in that way, in that world, the Hasidim, they don't leave the Rebbe. Wherever the Rebbe goes, they go with him. They go die, they're going to die with him. That's how close they were with him.
Whenever he goes to test.
So wherever they go with him. So they take him to this mass grave now, and it happens to be it's Friday afternoon, right before Shabbat. And the soldiers are standing there, with the Gestapo soldiers standing with their guns pointed at them, and they don't shoot. They're just pointing the guns at these Hasidim and the Rebbe, and they're sending a circle around the grave. They're waiting. Let's see how long you can survive. And the Nazis are loving. They're having a kick out of it to see how long they can stand for. And they're standing and they're standing, and the Rebbe turns around to his students, and he starts speaking. Gives him a drasha, gives him a little bit of a Shabbat ruach, chizuk. He tells him, it's Shabbat coming up, and every day on Shabbat, every day before Shabbat comes, we get ourselves ready for Shabbos. What we do, we go to the mikveh, we have the chalot ready, table set, everything's ready for Shabbos. Right now, we're standing in front of our grave, but we still have a mitzvah to bring in the Shabbat. We still have a mitzvah of Shabbat. Are we going to stand here and not celebrate Shabbat? Or are we going to take this opportunity to celebrate Shabbat? It might be our last Shabbos. What are we going to do? So he said, let's start celebrating Shabbos. So they're waiting for a time to come. They're waiting for a Kabbat Shabbat to come. And they start singing. Imagine the situation. They're starting to sing and the guns are pointed at them. And now they're ready to fire. And the head of the Gestapo says, whoa, let's see what they're going to do. And they're singing, and they start holding hands, and they're doing circles around the grave. Again, how is the story true? Because there was an old man in the woods that saw this, and he wrote the story down. I have the book that this guy writes it down in. The old man survived the war. He wrote the story down. He saw it. So they're singing and they're dancing in front of the grave, and the Rebbe tells the people, whatever you have in your pockets, any food, any pieces of bread that you still have, let's put it now. We have chalot, Shabbat. They pull out the little snippets of bread and they do hamotzi. They're starting to welcome Shabbat. And they start singing and dancing. They get to such a high level that they break out in a huge dance. The guy goes, fire! And shoots everybody, kills everybody. He couldn't handle the happiness. He's trying to make them die in a painful, suffering death. And here they're dancing and they're happy and they're welcoming Shabbat. That comes from fire. That's from Esh. That's when you have the love of Torah, you have love of mitzvot, you have love of Shabbat. You can take it to the end of your life. You can take it. There's nothing's going to bother you. Not even a gun pointing at your head is not going to bother you. You can dance and you can pass away with Shabbat in your hands. That's how they reach. That's not a story of 1,000 years ago. It's only 60 years ago. That's not Ta'im. That's not in times of Rishon Yochai. That was in those days. So when we see what Shabbat really is, we take that same enthusiasm. We pray the Chalodi, clap, sing. We should have that same love. When we say Tehillim every day in the chat, are we going to just read the song? Or are we going to say Tehillim? Say Tehillim with a little bit of enthusiasm. Something. Do a little bit of a motivation, some kind of passion to show that we had that fire in us. And that's what Lag BaOmer is. That fire. If we take it into perspective, everything we do in our life, every mitzvah we do, whether it's eating kosher, whether it's keeping Shabbat, whether it's tefillin, anything, just add a little bit of that ish, a little bit of that fire, you'll see that everything's different. If you add that to your life, you definitely can, give that over to your kids and your wife and your girlfriends and everything, and your whole family will be infected. Because if you fill yourself up with love of Torah, it's going to pour out to everyone else. And that's the lesson of Lag BaOmer. Hopefully everyone really understands what fire really is. When we see the candles of Shabbat, look at it for a second. It's a special spiritual life.
They died because they were burned to death? That's Lag BaOmer?
No, Lag BaOmer is that they stopped, the Talmidim Rabbi Akiva stopped dying. And Lag BaOmer is the day when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai passed away. And why do we celebrate his death? Because when he died, the Zohar was written. Meaning, when he passed away, he died. But his fire, his Torah that he left, the Zohar, which is Or, that continues in the world. All the Kabbalah, all this stuff that we have in the world, all comes from him. So we celebrate what he gave us in the world.
So how were they all killed?
Who, the Talmidim?
Yeah.
They died in the plague.
They weren't burned.
No, they died all in a certain time
Isn't there a
frame.
group of people that were burned to death with the Torah in their hands?
That's 10 Harugei Malchut. That's another class. I'll get to that also. That's probably the Shavuot.
Kabbalah came only from
Kabbalah came Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So to end off the class, one thing, to show us how great Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai really was, and that's why we celebrate him. It's like Harry mentioned it, but I'm going to explain to you right now. There's 4 levels of Torah. There's Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. I'm going to say it. It's called Pardes. Pardes, if they say in English. It's called Pardes. Pardes. Pardes means Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. Pshat is a simple level. We can learn the 3rd degree level. That's called Pshat. Simple level. No deepness involved. Then you have Remez. Remez is hints. Gematria, Roshetevot, all that stuff that we think is jokes, it's called Remez. It's called the hint. That's the second level. Drash, it's called Midrashim. All Midrashim that we think about is just Drash, it's just stories and examples. That's the third level. And the highest level is called Sod, secrets. To explain how deep it is, and we're done right now, it's the last thing. To explain how deep it is, how far Torah goes, we said there's 4 levels: Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. There's a Pshat in the Pshat, Pshat in there, and then there's Drash and there's Drash. You can do it every time, and then this is the 70 ways to learn Torah, right? The 7 Shavim Panim Torah, there's 70 ways. So you do 70 ways to translate Pshat, Drash, Sod. There's 70 ways to do it. It comes out to be 1,000 different ways that you can explain Torah. And Sod, which is the secret of secrets, that's Rabbi Shimon Yochai. He gave us the Zohar, which is Sod of the Sod of the Sod. It's the deepest level of things that you can ever understand. And it says those things you can only learn when you get to a certain age, that you do a certain type of level, you fast a certain type. It's all these type of levels that you have to get to. But
Our generation, is there anyone?
the people learned that.
Hit it?
All these Mukubalim, they learned it.
So the reason why Lag BaOmer exists, the cute way is because the thing you said in the Torah.
That's a hint of it, yeah. That's what it is.
But the real reason is because they were all dying for 33 days. On the 33rd day, he died. So now we turned from being, mourning to celebrating.
Stop, separated. 33 days of them dying is something else. That's the sad period of time.
And then
the fact that he died today on Lag BaOmer is a celebration in itself. It could be that he died on the 40th day.
But then the rest of the 17 days or whatever it is,
that already, from that time on, is told. That's the good days. That's already happiness. Why does it start from that day? It's because from that day on, they finished dying.
So that's the real reason why there's Lag BaOmer.
That's the real reason why we celebrate with fire and we have dancing. It's a happy day. We should be mourning. He passed away, right? It's a happy day because he gave us a new part of Torah. He gave us the Sod, the secrets, and that's the beauty of the Lag BaOmer.
We don't cut our hair because of the
that was for the mourners. For the sad time.
For the
students. 33rd day, again, 34th day of the Omer, we cut our hair. And from then on comes the approaches of the Torah and the fire. We do all things with fire. If anyone wants to come with me to celebrate Lag BaOmer, call me up. I'll take you with me.
Where you going?
I'm going to a special place. See them. I'm going to Borough Park.
Nice.
That's where you really see what the real Rebbe's, how they celebrate holidays. And you see fire. Anyways, hopefully we all take that little aspect of add a fire to your life and with mitzvot, and hopefully we'll see on Yeshuot. Amen. Anyone?
Oh, it's beautiful.